Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 207. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have President and co-founder of High Return Real Estate, Jack Gibson. Began his entrepreneurial journey at 19 and founded his first company at 21, operating successful nutrition consulting and distribution company. Soon thereafter, he bought his first home as an investment. One quickly became 5. He became obsessed with learning everything about real estate investing. Today, Jack spends his time mentoring other entrepreneurs and continues to build his real estate investment portfolio. Hello, Jack.
Hello. Thanks for having me back on, Patience.
Thank you for coming. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Yeah, actually, when I first got started in business, I was 19, as you just said, and I didn't even think about like the car rental age that I had such a long ways to go, But my kind of entrepreneurial beginning started in network marketing. I was given a flyer from another college student. I was studying business and marketing at a small college in the USA in Michigan. And another college student, he handed me a flyer about, this incredible health product and weight management product. And that's led to the conversations of, joining him in the business as a partner. And I jumped on the opportunity because I could, I saw the vision to create passive income. I love the idea of having a business where you can do the work, build up a successful sales distribution network or, any type of investment per se, where you can do the work once or you can invest once and you can continue to get enjoy the fruits of labor for months or years later. That concept appealed to me, and that's why I got started in that, and that's why I eventually got started into real estate. So I started building that business part-time from my college dorm, and by the time I graduated college, it was a full-time $1 million, sales business per year. And I just said, you know what? I'm not getting a job. I'm going to go in and just do this transition into this full-time, which was incredible.
What is the most dangerous belief an online entrepreneur or any business entrepreneur can have?
Oh man, there's so many dangerous beliefs, but to me, it's all about like the most dangerous belief is just lack, that there's not enough, resources available for them, to be able to grow their business. Like, for example, they don't have enough connections or they don't have enough capital to get started, or, they don't have enough skills to get started. I mean, if you look and read successful biographies of people that have made it in business, I mean, most of them, didn't start with, like 10 people in suit coats in a boardroom, They started out of their, home office or their garage or, a tiny little office. Most are very humble beginnings. And they just had to figure it out and get resourceful and figure out a way to dive in and learn and not try to think that, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to come to the table when all the conditions are perfect. The conditions will never be perfect, and you just have to attack and get going.
Why do you do what you do?
Well, I think when I first got started in business, I wanted to create a financial wall around my family. I didn't have a family at the time, but I knew that was the direction that I was headed in probably a short period of time. And I wanted to have a lifestyle where I would be able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it and not have time constraints or money constraints. I think that most people, when they have a job, like if they have a high earning job, they have they don't have money constraints, but then they have time constraints that go along with it. Or it could be on the flip side of that. People that, that are on, say, for example, a government assisted program, like they got all the time in the world, right?
Mhm.
I mean, they can do whatever they want time wise, but money wise, that limits them to being able to really enjoy a great lifestyle. So I wanted to have I wanted to have both. And I knew that creating a successful business and being an entrepreneur was the way, that I could create both time and money.
Let's put man aside because you're already successful before you went to the real estate. How do you know you are successful in your new venture?
Well, I'm still doing the nutrition business. In fact,
Oh,
that business is bigger and thriving, and we had a record-setting year again, even 22 years, later into it. Actually, I was at the last 9 out of the last 11 days I've been away from home and traveling to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then Detroit, Michigan for sales conferences. So I'm still very active in that business, and it's thriving. Um, I wanted to get started in real estate simply to create diversification. At the time, a few years back, there was some governmental, things that were happening, kind of like I saw a storm coming in potentially that I didn't like, and I didn't want to be 100% solely, reliant upon the future of our lifestyle to just on one business or one stream of income. And, it turns out like we weathered the storm, and we had to make some changes, and soon it will be happening to many other MLM, multi-level marketing companies as well. But we did just fine. In fact, we thrived through it. So it wasn't it wasn't a problem like I thought it might be. But at the same time, you never know in business when a certain industry can get disrupted. I mean, when you look at Blockbuster, video company, they were a multi-billion dollar company, back in like 2010, and just a handful of years later, the company ceased to exist. So crazy how with today's technology and just the disruption that happens in business, how quickly you can go from very successful to not. So I said, you know what? I think it's important to have diversification inside of today's, fast-paced, fast-moving economy. So that's why I decided to really learn and dive into real estate and then ultimately create a new company in that industry.
can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
Well, yeah, it's like, well, that's a big question of nature versus nurture, right? Are
Yes.
you born an entrepreneur, or can you develop into one?
Yes.
And that's a question that feel like I'm not qualified to answer, because I feel like I was born to be an entrepreneur, with just the way I'm wired. I just always from childhood, I was always looking for ways to avoid having a job and to generate income, just on my own efforts. So, but I think certainly. I think it's for those that don't have the entrepreneurial bug. Sometimes, I think you're almost can be forced into it just through frustration. If for example, if you've been in the corporate world and you're just tired of dealing with the politics, and you're tired of downsizings, or you're tired of all the whatever the case you're frustrated with, that frustration can prove to be an important catalyst to creating that entrepreneurial spirit within you. So I think it definitely can be developed for sure. And I think it's all mindset based. So depending on, what books and type of, podcasts that you listen to, the more that you immerse yourself in it, the more that your mindset is going to be transformed into thinking in entrepreneurial time versus thinking in employee time.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Oh man, incredible question. So I think the biggest lesson for me is that if you take care of and you create value in the marketplace, like if you have a product or a service or whatever your offering is, if you're creating value to your customers, I mean, eventually you're going to win as a business. And I think sometimes people, they chase profit, they chase money, and that's all great. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to build a profit. In fact, it's 100% necessary as an entrepreneur to be chasing a profit and to be, wanting to maximize the amount of revenue and earnings. And so it's all great, and it's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with trying to make a lot of money. But when that's your sole objective, then I think it makes being an entrepreneur very difficult, because you're not intensely passionate about the mission of your business and passionate about what it is that you're actually providing. That ultimately all business boils down to changing people's lives in a positive way. And when you do that, the amount of people that you do that for and the scale at which you do that becomes the size of the business that you have. So always forgetting that who you're serving your client.
Okay, you mentioned that nowadays you spend most of your time mentoring other new entrepreneurs. Do you have a mentor yourself?
Yes, I have multiple mentors, over the years. I have a business coach. I have a spiritual, type of coach. I have, a couple real estate mentors. I have a financial mentor. So I think it's important to have mentors in different areas of life, of which you always boil it down to, I always ask the question, do they have a result in their life that I want? And if they do, then how did they do it? And they know the mindset that it takes to get it. So that's how I qualify my mentors and who I ask. But I also, I think it's important to, it's not a mentorship relationship is not a one-way street. They can't just be pouring into you only. You've got to be giving back to them. You've got to be pouring back into them. You've got to be willing to listen to what they tell you to do. Because at the end of the day, mentors get their fulfillment from seeing a student go out and do what they instruct them to do and creating success. A mentor wants to be in your testimonial. So if you provide that value back to them with praise and gratitude and just by your actions, following through with what they teach you, then you're going to be the type of person that's going to attract great mentors in your life.
What is the most valuable thing your mentors or coaches has told you?
Well, I guess it would probably depend in what area. For example, my real estate mentor told me buy low and sell high. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Or buy low and sell higher than what you bought. We don't, in our business model, actually, we don't sell at the highest price that we can sell it for our properties, because we're looking to maximize our clients' return on investment. And we're looking to create volume. We want multiple purchases and long-term relationships. And so if we were to try to extract every last maximized dollar out of every client, then I don't think that we'd have the repeat business and the referral business that we have. So that's not completely our model, right? But on the spiritual side, one of my mentors, after I was, going through a crisis in our real estate business, where we had some partners that were very unscrupulous and turned out to be, they weren't of the highest integrity. I'll just put it that way. Mm-hmm. And my spiritual mentor, he said, well, Jack, he said, bad roots produce bad fruits. And I'm like, wow. So basically what he was trying to tell me was, take full responsibility for what you've attracted into your life, and try to go down into the causal, what caused you to do business with these types of people? What caused this to happen for you? What's in your core and your spirit that you need to really take a look at, and doing personal development to work on that area so that you can attract, better results, better fruits to your life. Oh. So Yeah, that was kind of painful when he said that, but when he said it, I'm like, wow, that's wisdom, that's truth, and I think all of us, as humans, we got to look to taking 100% full responsibility for everything that does happen in our lives, and that's the only way that we can ever be truly in control and truly powerful to make changes when things don't go our way.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
Well, I think I'm very persistent. So I will, when I set my objective on getting a certain goal or a certain level of business or whatever, I'm pretty much locked in like the Terminator. So, the Terminator, as you know, like in the movie, it had an objective, and it was either going to kill the objective or was going to be, terminated itself. So one of the two things had to happen. So I feel like I'm the Terminator on the inside, and I try to be more like cool, calm, and collect like James Bond on the outside, so that I don't repel people, right? Because I know people that I've had to coach, and they're the Terminator on the inside and on the outside, and it doesn't do well in attracting people to them to build their teams and to build their business. So you got to be on the outside exterior. You need to be loose. You need to be friendly. You need to be, have humor. And on the inside, you got to have that incredible like drive. And I'm never going to say quit.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Well, I'd prefer to keep it that way, because there's some really good stories there. But no, I'll answer the question. One thing that nobody knows about me, back when I was 9 years old, I entered a greased pig catching contest and caught a greased pig, and it started a 20-year family tradition where we had a pig roast and invited all our family over.
Wow.
And you know what? The first year, it's the persistence thing. The first year before that, I actually entered it, and I got pushed around by I was like the kind of city preppy, kid that, I just didn't get down and, dirty. And I got pushed around, man, in that trying to catch those pigs. So the next year I came back like, man, I got to be tough, man. I got to be like the Terminator in here catching this pig. So I kind of applied that in all areas of life, including business.
What did you learn from knowing Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, he was, that was one of the reasons I moved over here to where I am in, Southwest Michigan. At the time, in my small little college I was at, my roommate, Andy, was a year older than me, and he ended up moving over here to take a job as Ali's estate manager. So I thought, wow, I had a portable business and I didn't know where to go. So I'm like, you know what, let's go move over by Muhammad Ali, and I can hang out at his estate. And so that's what I did. I hung out with on his estate multiple times, got to ride around town with him in a car. And what I learned is that humbleness as a human, to be one of the most recognized humans on the planet at that time, and to be so friendly and so like open to strangers coming into his house and taking a couple hours to, do magic tricks and entertain us and just give us a great experience. That was pretty special. And that really opened my eyes to, man, you can have success, but you can also be a humble human.
Tell us how to instill entrepreneurial spirit in our children.
I read books with them. I play board games with them. I talk to them about business. I let them listen in on when I'm driving in the car, I'll put my conversations on speaker. I don't know if they're paying attention or completely zoned out, probably the latter. I always have to prep everybody too when they get in when they're on the call. And I'm in my car, I have to tell them, hey guys, I have my kids in here, watch your language, please. Real estate seems to attract the guys with the potty mouths. But I let them just try to be a part of what we're doing. And, we have our oldest, he works at our nutrition, store shop, and he helps make shakes and serves the clients when he's off school, and he loves doing it. Of course, I try to teach them how to negotiate in terms of, making sure that they're getting the maximum value for what they're doing. So my son is very much a negotiator. If I ask him to do a job outside the normal scope of everyday chores, so that's great. I want him to push back. I want him to negotiate and learn those skills now.
Let's talk about your high return real estate. Tell us more about it.
Well, yeah, we're a turnkey operation, and what we do is, we pretty much take all the guesswork and the hard labor out for investors that want to invest into real estate. Most people that we work with are professionals or busy entrepreneurs. They've achieved success. They have cash to invest. They don't want to do the stock market thing, or they want to diversify. Maybe they are in stocks, but they don't want all of their eggs in that basket, in that one asset class. And they understand passive income and the benefits of all the benefits of rental real estate. So we go out and we acquire a property typically at a substantial discount because it needs a lot of work. And then we have several rehab teams that we've vetted over the last few years. And we turn a contractor onto a job. They make it to where it's completely turnkey. Everything is done. It gets third-party inspected. It gets third-party property management inspected as well. So it goes through two independent third-party checklists. And then once it's gone through all those checklists and it's rent ready, then we start marketing it to a potential investor. And typically by the time that investor closes, not always, the property is, close, is at action, it's close to being leased up, or it actually is leased up. So we much prefer to sell fully cash flowing leased up properties to our investors. But unfortunately for our model, we can't wait because of hold costs. We need to be off utilizing the capital for the next job. So we try to close as quickly as we can. That's why we're all cash in our sales process. And then we're off to the next job, getting the next property ready for the next investor.
Okay, where can we find your website and how can we connect with you?
Yeah, it's just exactly as it sounds, highreturnrealestate.com. That's it's high, like as an HIGH, highreturnrealestate.com. They can go to our website. They can, we've got contact links there. They can book a call with our head of investors relations, Nicole Haas. They can, subscribe to our podcast, the High Return Real Estate Show, to learn more about what we do and all the different ways that they can benefit from investing into real estate. We have other successful real estate investors that do different types of real estate on our show as well. And we want to help them make a great decision and provide a great cash flowing product.
And again, you mentioned that you're a mentor. Do you a one-to-one or do you do a group mentoring?
Yeah, most of my mentoring is within my nutrition company for other people that are aspiring to that. So at some point, I'm, likelihood, just because I have such a passion for mentoring, down the road, it could be another company that I start is more of a business mentoring type of company. I can see that in my future, but for right now, it's more like mentoring other sales representatives that are trying to grow a nutrition business.
So, Clan, there will be more from Jack in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Jack's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for a bonus portion of the interview. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for paths to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. Once you have joined the clan, click on part 2 of Jack's journey or over 150 other journeys that are available and learn how you can find the right path for your own online success journey. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Jack.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.